Everyone, and welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level civics and citizenship lesson, and today we're going to be talking about the mandatory duties of citizens. So think about these questions. Are you a good member of your community? How can you be a good member of your community? And what are civic responsibilities? Well, one of the responsibilities is following laws. So what are some examples of laws? Well, here he's fastening his seatbelt. That's a law in many places. Not texting or talking on the phone when you're driving is another. Obeying the speed limits, avoiding stealing from stores. I mean, there are all sorts of laws. And why do we have laws? Well, laws help keep order. It makes it easier for people to get along with one another. And what would the world be like without laws? Well, probably it would be very chaotic and unsafe. All right, now we're going to talk about must and have to. We use must or have to or has to when we want to show that something is mandatory or an obligation. The structure is subject plus must plus the base verb without to. So it's citizens must pay taxes. You don't put to after must. It's not must to pay, it's just must pay. Countries must have laws in order to maintain order. And then with have to and has to, the structure is if the subject is I, you, they, or we. They left out we, it looks like. So we have to plus the base verb. And then he, she, or it with has to plus the base verb. So citizens have to pay taxes. Countries have to have laws to maintain order. So what are taxes? Well, these are payments that are made to the government. And why do people have to pay taxes? Well, tax dollars go to pay for things like roads and schools and public buildings. There are things that a community needs in order to function, and so those things are paid for by taxes. And do you think a country could be successful without taxes? Well, it probably would be very difficult to make repairs to the roads and bridges, to have good schools without charging people individually for each of those things rather than having them pay taxes. All right, the negative form. So must and have or has to have the same meaning in the positive form, but a different meaning in the negative form. So must not is a negative obligation. You must not break the law. Don't have to or doesn't have to is not an obligation. In the US, you don't have to vote if you don't want to, so it's your choice. So explain the differences between the sentences below. In many countries, there are laws that say you must not drive above a certain speed limit on roads and highways. So here, this means that there is an obligation to drive, below the speed limit. Germany's autobahns are famous because they are one of the few public roads in the world where drivers don't have to obey a speed limit. So here, don't have to obey a speed limit. It means people can drive at any speed that they want to. Jury duty is another obligation. So what does it mean to serve on a jury? Well, in the United States anyway, there are many trials where people are on trial for having, perhaps broken a law, and they have the right to a trial by jury where 12 ordinary people listen to the evidence and then vote on whether the person is innocent or guilty of the crime. And do you think it should be required for all citizens to serve on a jury? And then in some countries, citizens might have to serve in the military. And do you think this should be required? In the United States right now, we have an all-volunteer military, but there was a time during the Vietnam War where there was what's known as a draft, where men of certain ages were forced to serve in the military, but that's no longer the case. All right, so we're going to complete each sentence with either must, have to, has to, must not, or don't or doesn't have to. In many countries, there are laws that say you must not drive above a certain speed limit on roads and highways. Property laws often state that you must not enter someone else's land unless they tell you that you can. Environmental laws often state that you must not throw trash or litter in public places, in public areas. Anti-discrimination laws state that businesses must not discriminate against others based on factors like race, gender, or religion. Citizens have to pay taxes to fund government services like schools and healthcare. In the US, citizens don't have to serve in the military, but some choose to serve in the military because they want to. In some countries, citizens don't have to pay for their children's education because the government pays for it. In this region, citizens don't have to worry about healthcare costs because the state provides medical services. Some countries have mandatory jury duty, but in others, citizens don't have to participate in trials if they are not selected. And in a few countries, citizens don't have to file taxes if their income is lower than a certain amount. All right, respecting others. So read the quote below, and do you agree or disagree, and why, and use must or have to in your answer. So it is a citizen's responsibility to be polite and kind to other people, no matter where they come from. Staying informed is another responsibility. How do you stay informed about what is happening in the world? Do you think it's important for citizens to know what is happening and why? And so again, use must and or have to in your answer. All right, responsibilities of a citizen. So we'll match each responsibility with the reason why it is important. So voting, that would be letter G. It's important because it allows people to participate in making decisions. Following laws would be F, keeps everyone safe. Paying taxes would be letter B. This money is used to pay for things like schools, roads, and hospitals. Serving on a jury is letter C. This ensures that trials are fair. Defending your country is D. It's important to protect the country from danger. Respecting others is A. Creates a positive environment for everyone. And staying informed is E. Helps people to make educated decisions when voting. All right, here are some other scenarios to think about. Registering to vote. You just turned 18 and can vote in an upcoming election. Is it your responsibility as a citizen to register to vote and participate in the democratic process? So what do you think? The next scenario, attending a town hall meeting. Your local government is having a town hall meeting to discuss important community issues. Is it your responsibility as a citizen to attend and say your opinions? And finally, reporting a crime. You see a crime happening in your neighborhood. Is it your responsibility as a citizen to report it to the police? All right, so just to review, a citizen has a lot of responsibilities. What must a citizen do? Things like obeying the laws, paying taxes. What are some things that a citizen doesn't have to do? Well, you don't have to vote. At least in the United States, you don't have to serve in the military unless you want to. And what are some ways that you can be a better citizen? Things like reporting crimes, being kind to your neighbors, and following the rules and laws. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, and if you have any questions, please leave those for me in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.